guys. Wow, it feels so good to say that again. So it is currently Tuesday, June 6th, and remember how I was kind of naive enough to think that I would actually be able to vlog on my wedding day? That did not happen. So basically, unfortunately, it's kind of been a week since I was actually able to vlog. It has just been like absolute insanity over here, and so I just kind of decided to unplug for the last week, and I didn't really vlog, and I really meant to, especially like the 2 days before the vlog. I had like no intentions of not vlogging. I even, was planning throughout the day, and then it just, got so late and crazy that I just realized like, oh, I guess I'm not vlogging today. I just literally didn't have a chance. So basically today I'm gonna try and kind of go through the last week and basically, do a little like story time kind of vlog and recap the last week for you guys. And so you can still kind of, I don't know, see what happened and experience it with me. And yeah, so I'm really sorry if you're disappointed that it's not going to be basic like normal vlogs. I really wanted to. I wanted to for myself too, because I would love to be able to look back on those vlogs, but it was not going to happen. Things were so crazy leading up to the wedding and on the wedding day, and afterwards, Melissa and I just needed to recover because we were exhausted and it was just so crazy. And so, yeah, we decided to we didn't really make a decision. I kind of was thinking that I would pick up vlogging again after the wedding, but then, well, you'll see what happened. But I mean, it just, we just decided to kind of take off a little bit, kind of like a vlogging honeymoon, since we are planning on vlogging our actual honeymoon. So, all right. Anyways, last you saw was June 30th, and so I'm going to start with you saw May 30th, so I'm going to start with Wednesday, May 31st, and if you see me looking down, it's because I kind of like outlined the last week for you guys, so that when I'm kind of going through, I don't, forget anything or miss anything, and yeah, so, yeah, let's just dive right into this, I guess. Alright, so on Wednesday, I started my day by packing a whole bunch of stuff into the car because we were going up to the venue to drop off basically as much stuff as we could at the venue before the actual day of the wedding, so we wouldn't have to worry about getting all that there on the day of the wedding. And so anything that I was still storing at my house that I wanted to keep at the venue and I didn't need here anymore, I packed into my car, and then I headed down to my parents' house where I met my grandmother, my mom, and my sister. And then we packed everything that they had been storing at their house, because like you guys know, we were storing most of our decorations at my parents' house so that we wouldn't have to fit it all here. So most of the time, whenever we bought anything for the wedding, I would kind of just send it home to my parents, and they were keeping it for a while in my old room, and then I think they moved it down to the basement because there was just like a ton of stuff. And we were thinking that we might need to take 2 cars to the venue, but we were able to squeeze it all into my car. You can fit a surprising amount of stuff in my car, and so we squished it all in. We had to put, my back seat, like my second row of seats, has like a 2-in-1 kind of like back fold down thing. So we had the 2-seater still up, and so that's where me and my sister sat, and then we had the 1-seater like folded down so that we could have the huge arch kind of coming through, and we had things all jam-packed in between there. And yeah, I had stuff at my feet, so I was sitting like Indian style basically for the entire hour drive up there, and we were just all cramped in. But I'm really happy that we were able to all like fit everything in one car and didn't have to take 2 cars because, like I said, it was an hour drive to the venue, and so it was really fun kind of just, having that as part of the day and, just hanging out on the way there, and especially because my grandmother is from Chicago, and so she hasn't been here for, most of the wedding planning stuff, and so it's really fun to kind of hang out with her and fill her in on all, the plans and stuff, and, for the wedding. So yeah, we did that, and we also, the first thing we did that day, actually, once we got up near where we were going, was stop at the bridal boutique where I bought my wedding dress, because I don't think I ever told you guys, but when we went to pick up my wedding dress, I got home, and literally, like, right about a minute or so away from the apartment, I was sitting in the car thinking, I really hope my veil is in with the dress, because I didn't, like, see it, I didn't ask for it, and so I really hope it's just kind of in there, because I would kind of assume that they were just being stored together at the bridal boutique, because why wouldn't you? But it was not, and so we did not have my veil, and my veil is, again, an hour away from here, and so I was like, oh great, now we have to go all the way back. Luckily, it was only like 15 minutes away from the venue, so we kind of just bundled those 2 errands together, so we quickly picked up my veil first, and then we headed to lunch for the day. We went to this like seafood place. I got the world's best fish sticks, though. They were really, really good. And yeah, had a quick lunch, and I'm not gonna lie, I felt totally fancy walking around with my wedding veil like on a little hanger, just, I don't know, it just felt super fancy. So yeah, we had lunch, and then we headed to the venue to actually, you know, drop off all the stuff, which was our main task for the day. And luckily the venue had like a push cart thing, so we kind of like loaded that thing up 5 times and took it back and forth between the office where it would be stored until the wedding and, you know, our car, obviously. And then also while we were there, since my grandmother hadn't seen the venue in person yet, we kind of gave her a whole tour of, like, you know, the inside, the outside, and it was really cool kind of being there a couple days before the wedding too, to again get like really excited about our venue and just to kind of, I don't know, be like, oh, in 2 days we're gonna get married here, and just, you know, be all excited. And it was a really fun day. All right, and so after that we tried to rush home because I had to drop all of them off at their, you know, at the house, and then rush back to the apartment because we had a meeting with our day of coordinator, kind of like, you know, to go over final details and stuff and make sure she knew, you know, where everything was getting set up and how everything was getting set up, and if there was any last minute, you know, details that she needed to know. And so we kind of just basically went over, you know, every single thing for the setup at the venue so she would know what she needs to do on the day of. And yeah, that was really great. It kind of provided a really nice peace of mind because, again, having gone over so concretely right before the wedding, like, yes, this is how this is going to get set up, this is how this should get set up, like, it made me feel really at peace, and like I knew everything was going to be taken care of. And like I've said this a million times before, but we just loved our day of coordinator, and so to kind of, I don't know, just know that she had it, and she you know, knew what she was doing, and everything would run smoothly. It was really, like I said, a nice peace of mind a couple days before the wedding when things were really starting to get, you know, stressful. And then after the meeting with the day of coordinator, we had another phone meeting with our videographer, and so we kind of just had to go over the timeline with him, because my one complaint about the George Street company that we went through for our photography and videography for our wedding is they had us like fill in a timeline on their site that would kind of schedule, like, you know, events of the day, you know, so like the ceremony, the first look, the, you know, pictures and stuff, and then schedule the individual photographers and videographers within those events. And basically every single photographer, like both, every single one, like we had, you know, 15. Both my main photographer and my videographer said something to me, and I personally thought it as well, that the George Street timeline manager thing is just really confusing. And so it was really nice kind of also going over with the videographer guy an actual, like, you know, timeline in a normal sense, just kind of listing out, okay, you know, at 1 to 3 we'll be getting ready, 3:15 first look, you know, and go through it like that so that, you know, everyone knew what was happening and when. And yeah, that was basically a really quick phone call, which was really nice because we were exhausted. So, and we also had a bunch to do that night. So that night we finished cutting out the escort cards, and Melissa also alphabetized them so that they were totally ready to go for the day of coordinator on the day of. She could just pop them into the yeah, I have one right here. So basically, this is actually a sample +1 card like you guys saw before, but this is what we used for escort cards, and we basically just plonked the escort card into the knot and displayed them like that. And so I had the escort cards all alphabetized and ready to be just, you know, put together for Julie, so that that's our day of coordinator, so she just put it together the day of and put on a table and wouldn't take any extra time than it, you know, would need. Alright, and so then we also had to make the baby name reveal cards, because like I said, we had like a little thing where we had a baby picture from everyone in our families on each reception table, and then we were going to reveal what baby picture was who by the end of the night, but honestly that didn't end up happening. We didn't end up revealing any of the names as far as I know, because things just got so crazy on the wedding day that project thing kind of just forgotten. But people did have a lot of fun, like looking at the baby pictures and kind of like, I don't know, so I'm really glad we did that, but we didn't actually end up revealing the names. But also on Wednesday night we did make all of the wedding signs, so, you know, like the hashtag sign, the escort card sign, the pick a seat not a side sign. Well, actually Melissa had that printed Thursday, I believe, but I had it designed. And oh, we did run into a kind of like scary problem on Wednesday night. So while I was making the sign for the menu, I realized that the last like menu outline that our caterer had sent didn't reflect the change in chicken that we had made. If you remember when we went to our caterer tasting, we switched from an original chicken that we had picked to a substitute chicken that we kind of like, we tasted 2 chickens because we couldn't try the top round beef that we knew we were going to have at the tasting, if that makes any sense. Anyways, long story short, we had changed our chicken but the new chicken wasn't on the latest menu. And so I was kind of freaking out because, I mean, it's 2 days before the wedding and our menu was wrong, and like I was worried that it was too late to, make the, correct change. And I had been telling people about this chicken because it was really, really good. And so like I had been talking up this chicken, I'm like, and I can't not have it at the wedding basically. And so that was really stressful. Luckily, Melissa got our caterer on the phone on Thursday and just completely, basically they just ran with the punches, and they had been planning to do the original chicken because as far as they knew, we had never concretely switched over, and so they were, prepping for the original chicken, but it would be basically no problem to switch to the chicken that we did want. Thank goodness, because that would have been really stressful if we couldn't have, I mean, I know in the big scheme of things it's not that big of a deal, but like 2 days before your wedding, something that big, seemingly going wrong is extremely stressful, and I was like freaking out. Okay, so yeah, that is kind of all we did on Wednesday. We were up until like 1:30, I think, making all the signs. Hold on, I'm going to turn off my air conditioning because that's going to be really loud. Alright, so anyways, I think that brings us to Thursday, and so, alright, this is the day before the wedding. So Melissa kind of ran around mostly during the day. I think she met up with her brother Jack at our apartment, and then they kind of headed out to do a whole bunch of like errands and stuff that she had to run. They picked up Jack's suit rental. They dropped off all of our rings, so I left my engagement ring and obviously wedding band with her, and then she obviously had her rings, and she dropped them off at the jewelry store to get like mega cleaned basically. Like normally when we go, we can give them our rings and they, take them back and give them a quick little shine and bring them back out. But this was like a super clean that they take, it took a couple hours for the rings to be ready, and so they were like so clean and so sparkly when we picked them up. So I'm really happy that they offered to do that before the wedding. And yeah, so she dropped the rings off, and then I believe that's also when she went and picked up because we ended up having the pick a seat, not a side sign printed at, I think, like a Staples or something, so she went to go pick that up while she was out. Yeah, so she was just kind of out doing random errands all day. She got like some socks for the groomsmen and to wear, with her suits and stuff like that. And then while she was doing that, I went down to About Faces to meet up with my mom, my grandmother, and all 3 of my bridesmaids. And so yeah, basically, I got there and I did my pedicure first because I was the only one getting a pedicure, and everyone else did their manicures first, and the bridesmaids used the mint nail polish that I had given them in their bridesmaids proposal boxes, and I thought that'd be kind of nice, especially because their dresses were gray instead of, being the color of the wedding like bridesmaids dresses can be, and so I thought it was nice to bring in the color that way as well. They also had a mint ribbon hanging down from their bouquet, but again, I thought it was kind of nice to have that additional little touch of mint with their outfits. So yeah, while they were getting their manicures done, I was getting a pedicure done, which was really, really relaxing and really nice. And then as soon as I was finished with my pedicure, I got brought over to the, well, as you can probably tell, I'm not sure actually that you can see, it's not focusing. Alright, there you go, that's kind of focusing. I got like the gel acrylics. They're kind of starting to grow out now because it's been, a few days, but I think they're called gel acrylics. We're actually kind of there. We ran into a little bit of a, not complication, but confusion. Basically, apparently there's some other kind of acrylic nail that you can get that they'll stay on your nails for like a year, and they'll, end up destroying your nails when you take them off because they're like, permanently bonded to your nail. So like the woman was like, I think we booked that somehow. And so the woman was like, are you sure you want that? And me having literally no idea what I'm talking about because I haven't gotten these since like prom for high school or something. So I'm like, yeah, I think they're called like gel acrylic, because we also originally had a mix up with it being called gel shellac for when we originally booked the appointment. And so there was all sorts of confusion. But eventually I did get the nails I wanted. These will come off in like, whenever they grow out, I can just soak them off with acetone. So thank goodness, because I already have kind of thin nails, so if I ruined it with that, I'd be very upset. But, alright, I'm going to try and stay on track, because this is going to be very, very long as it is. Alright, so while I was getting these done, basically everyone else kind of just hung out around me, and we chit-chatted because there was no one else really getting their nails done in that section, which was really nice. So we could kind of like take over the little corner of the spa there, and my mom had brought some champagne and champagne glasses, and so we, toasted obviously, and she also bought these funny little like fascinator things off of Amazon. So I'm sitting there, with my, hands getting, whatever done to them, and she comes over and puts something in my head. I'm like, what the heck is on my head? And it's this little like bridal, oh, hold on, let me see if I can go find it actually. It's this little like bridal fascinator, like little clip thing, so it has, one of these dealios on the bottom, and it just kind of, you know, clips in your hair like that. Hope you can see it. There you go. And I don't know, it's just like a funny little thing. It has like some feathers, and she also got some like minty blue ones for the bridesmaids, and so they were all wearing those and we were all wearing these, and just kind of like, I don't know, because again, this is kind of like my, you know, bachelorette party type thing, and so just a fun little thing while we were, you know, getting our nails done, just to be goofy. And yeah, so they hung out there for a bit, we drank champagne, just chatted, and I got my nails done, and they didn't stay the whole time because I think it took something like an hour to get these done. Everyone else had, you know, all sorts of stuff that they also needed to do before the wedding. So yeah, after they left, I kind of just was able to, you know, relax and just, you know, focus on getting your nails done and just take a breather, because it was a crazy couple of days, and that was also really, really nice. So yeah, once I was done, I ran home really quick because I basically just had enough time to shove some leftovers in my mouth. I think I had some leftover fish sticks from the day before, get changed, and then run out the door to our rehearsal dinner, because we also had to quickly stop at the jewelry store, pick up our rings. Melissa also actually ended up buying a little like silver, you know, velvet lined ring box, I guess it would be called, basically something to hold the rings in the best man's pocket for the ceremony, so that they're not just like, I don't know, I feel like that's just a bad idea, having rings loose, because they're just so tiny and easy to be lost. So yeah, we got that little ring box, and it can actually be engraved, and so we're gonna, I mean, obviously we didn't get it engraved that day, but we're gonna bring it back some point now to get it engraved with like our names and wedding date or something, which I thought would be really, really nice. So yeah, we picked up the rings, bought the ring box, and then went over to Melissa's parents' house for the rehearsal and rehearsal dinner. And we actually ended up being pretty late to our rehearsal dinner because of all this running around, and so I felt really bad about that, late to our own rehearsal. Like, that's how crazy things were. But yeah, we got there, didn't miss anything obviously, and had a really good time, just kind of hung out and, you know, drank and ate, and, you know, hung out with family and friends and everyone who was there. We basically just had a pretty small, for as small as a wedding rehearsal can be, because we basically just had everyone who was in the wedding at the rehearsal. So since we were including grandparents and stuff in the processional, they were there, and yeah, but it was still quite a lot of people. I think it was like 25 to 30 when all was said and done. But it was a lot of fun, and we ran through the rehearsal. I was actually the one kind of like in charge of lining everyone up and making sure everyone knew, you know, what side they would be on, and, you know, where they would go once they got to the end of the aisle, and, you know, what to expect and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I think I did a pretty good job of directing everything. Everyone seemed to know kind of like what they were doing. Then again, you know, it's a wedding processional, it's not exactly rocket science. And so, yeah, we ran through that twice just to, I think, be safe. And then, let's see. Yeah, I think for the rest of the night we had dinner and just kind of, you know, hung out. And it was a lot of fun. Again, it was a nice way to kind of de-stress after all the craziness of wedding planning. And pretty much, I mean, at that point, things were done. There wasn't much you could do between, you know, the wedding rehearsal and the wedding. So, yeah, we just kind of, you know, hung out with family, hung out with friends, and just kind of, you know, bopped around and saw everyone at the party. And we also brought the flower girl dresses there for them to like try on and make sure they fit, you know, before, because if there's any last minute emergency alterations that needed to be done, you'd rather have them done the day before the wedding than the day of the wedding. So yeah, they were so cute though. It was really fun kind of seeing them in the dresses for the first time. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all that, you know, happened at the rehearsal dinner. By the end though, oh my gosh, I was so tired. Like, I don't think I've ever been that tired in my life. I was sitting at like the table, barely able to even pretend I was awake. Like, I couldn't keep my eyes open. I feel like I like looked like an absolute zombie. I was just sitting there so zoned out. I could barely even hold a conversation. I was so tired. I wasn't even that tired at the end of my wedding. Like, it was just, I was so exhausted. So yeah, we went home. I think we were like the second ones to leave or something, because again, we still had stuff to do when we got home. We had to write our vows, and we were planning on kind of getting everything packed and ready for tomorrow, but we didn't really end up doing a whole lot of that. We just didn't have time, and like I said, I was beyond tired. So yeah, that's kind of the mental state I was in when I wrote my vows and my letter to Melissa too, which I felt really bad about, but I'm still really happy with the way my vows turned out, because basically when we got home from the rehearsal dinner, we both wrote them. I wrote them in my phone, she wrote them like on her computer, and I also wrote my letter to her. I'm not sure if that's when she wrote her letter to me, but I'm pretty sure it is. But we both kind of wrote them, you know, electronically, and then the next day copied them into, we had these little vow books. Again, Let me see if I can go find that to show you guys. So hopefully this can kind of be at least a little interesting if I can kind of keep, you know, showing you guys things, even if it is just me talking at the camera for goodness knows how long, so we're only on, you know, day 2. So here's our cute little vow books. We had 2 of these, obviously one for me and one for Melissa, and I believe Melissa got these for me for my birthday. I'm pretty sure that's when she got them, and they are, again, I believe from Southern Weddings. Yeah, from Southern Weddings, so if you want them for yourself, you can find them there. But yeah, I was really happy because, I mean, you're reading those, you know, in front of people, and they're going to be in your wedding pictures while you're reading your vows, so I wanted them to look nice, and so I'm really happy she got those. And yeah, but so anyway, so that's kind of what we did Thursday night. Basically wrote the electronic versions of our vows and our letters to each other. And like I said, I had really wanted to kind of pack and have everything put together for tomorrow morning so I wouldn't have to worry about it and I could just, you know, pick the stuff up and put it in the car, but I was just way too beyond tired. So at that point, it was smarter for me to just go to bed and get the sleep and then be well rested enough to kind of be able to run around and get everything and pack it together rather than try and force myself to, you know, drag myself around the house because I could barely walk. I was so tired. And yeah, then risk being even more tired the next day. So I ended up going to bed. I think we were in bed around 11 p.m. I was in bed a little earlier, but Melissa was still kind of running around, so I was just kind of lying in bed with my eyes closed, not really falling asleep yet. But by 11 p.m., we like actually went to bed.